It has been a wild 24 hours for crypto, and most of the major moves just happened in the last roughly 2-3 hours. We're going to be talking about it. And, on top of that, I really just want to stress something real quick before we jump on into everything. This is the hardest part of the cycle. And we're going to be talking about that and addressing it. But first, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick, for those that are new to the channel. Hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. As we take a look at this space, we are seeing some major shakeouts happening. The market's getting shaken up a little bit. Emotions are at, all-time highs. The sentiment basically at all-time lows. It kind of feels similar to November of 2022. I would argue that emotions are even worse right now than November of 2022. At least back then, everyone was like, all right, yeah, we're having a massive sell-off. Everything's, going bearish, whatever. I don't care. The market is still bullish. I'm still bullish on crypto, X, Y, and Z, right? Now it's like everyone has given up. Or at least that's what I'm seeing on my timeline. We're going to be talking about that as well. So let's first address Bitcoin. Let's address Ethereum. Let's address altcoins. So we just had a pretty substantial liquidation event happen in the market. Almost $500 million worth of liquidations happened in the last 24-hour span. We could see all of those liquidations here. This is what the 24-hour span looks like as well in terms of liquidation heat map. This is the 1 hour or the 4 hour, and then also the 1 hour. We can see the exchange liquidations here as well. All of them liquidations, about roughly 225 million in the last 4 hour span. In the last 24 hours, $484 million liquidated throughout the entire market. Pretty substantial. Now, we have been watching the liquidations growing and growing over the last couple days. A lot of people are trying to get into, gambling essentially on what's going to happen next. And that typically leads to major losses. And those losses can accelerate moves to the upside or even the downside. And I've talked about this in the past as well. But as we look at the 24-hour span, not much is green. A lot is red. And we could see that throughout the top 100, it is pretty substantial. Even if we go to the gainers and losers right now, top 100 in the last 24-hour span, XRP is the only one with 0.15% gain. And the rest is just red throughout the top 100. Top 500, we might have some, green. Most of it's like meme coins and stuff. But this is typically, what we are seeing across the board, which is just massive drawdowns. But as we look at that, right, this is what happened back in 2022. A 26.22% drop to the bottom in just one weekly candle because of FTX. And, the total loss here was roughly, 28% from the week of October 31st to the week of November 21st. And during this time, it was just chop, right? And a lot of people were getting extremely bearish. Now, most of the market, if we actually go over here, also had a sell-off, right? Like this is the total, everything sold off with Bitcoin because we were still reliant on what Bitcoin was doing. We went from pretty much $1 trillion in market cap value for the entire market to $735 billion, which was substantial. It wasn't like a small, feat, but the sentiment is worse now than back in November of 2022, which is wild to me. Now, this is what the current Bitcoin chart looks like. We're kind of fighting to reclaim 65.5K on the 4 hour, which is a very big area of support that I actually want us to maintain. But if we don't, it's okay, right? We're still in this chop zone down here between 63,000 and 65.5K. This total drop going all the way back to June 7th. So in 10 days, we went from, roughly 70, almost 2,000 to 65 point almost 5K. We went all the way down here to about 64.6K. The total loss here was 10.21%. Guys, no one in my mind, no one should be bearish. Like this is a 10% drawdown. Now, yes, altcoins have been slaughtered, but that is because as we look at Bitcoin dominance, it's well over 56%. So yes, altcoins will be decimated during this chop fest. And this is basically what we're doing, right? We're just kind of testing this, range, waiting for something to move to the upside, or if we are going to break down even deeper. But in my opinion, I don't believe that we are going to lose $60,000, right? I've talked to you guys about this. Downside is limited around the 60 to 65K level. I don't believe that we lose 60K. Now, will I, admit if I'm wrong? 100%. But for right now, I'm not looking at this market as being extremely bearish. First off, Bitcoin on the 4-hour, all right, is still showing bullish divergence. This is on the lower time frames. Now, this could very well retest this trend line and then get a bounce. But for the most part, this is not bearish. The alt season time bomb is ticking, and now is the best time to go and get your free access to 30 secret crypto gems that I personally have researched completely for you so that you can save a ton of time and make a ton of money. The link down in the description below takes you guys to this page where you can claim your free access instantly right now, free of charge. It's completely free. So what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Go and click the link down in the description below as well as in the comments below to get access now. The market is actually telling us the opposite of what RSI is telling us, which is volumes coming in and we should be pushing higher, which is what I'm waiting for. Now, we do need to break out of this upper trend line, which is well over 66.7K, and we need to break over 67.3K and actually reclaim a level above that. We just recently had another retest of this, very similar to back here on June 14th. Again, during that time, guess what? We hit that area. Boom, sold off down to 65.5K. We even sold off down to like 65K itself. We just had another retest of that level and we sold off heavy. So what we want to see is a 4-hour close, one above this upper trend line, and then a 4-hour close above 67.3K. Until then, we're probably just going to chop a little bit more. And we should welcome that. We shouldn't look at this as a negative thing. Like, this is an opportunity here for altcoins. Let's talk about a few posts that I made on X. Number one was bear sentiment is growing every day while we are chopping between the 64 to 67K range. Altcoins are 100% weak right now, which is to be expected. Take a look at your altcoins Bitcoin pair. If you are wondering why, not the USD pair. Altcoins are not the star of the show. Bitcoin is for now. Once we see Bitcoin dominance actually lose structure and become bearish, that's when altcoins become the star. Focus on the Bitcoin pairs rather than the USD pairs, and the path forward will be a lot clearer. For now, if you are getting worried, if you are getting concerned, if you are scared, take a step back and away from the market for a few days. As I have said before many times, we are now getting into the phase of the market where emotions will be tested greatly. This is the challenging part. Making it through this will pay off greatly as it has in previous cycles. And then also, I took some screenshots of comments on the YouTube channel. I said, take a look at the YouTube comments from a recent video outlined alt season and how we are getting very close to it. The sentiment through these comments support my overall thought process even more. I see more and more of this every single day. No alt season until 2025. This time is different. Markets don't top until 2025, 2026. Trump supercycle, institutional adoption, etc. As I have mentioned, we have been running since November of 2022 on Bitcoin. It's up well over 300%, and upside on Bitcoin is limited from here. We can still see 120 to 150K, sure, but upside is limited. I personally am seeing us topping Q4 still, Q1 of 2025, the latest. I will stick with this and play it accordingly. You don't need to follow me. You don't need to listen to me. This is what I believe. Sentiment is feeding into where we are at cyclical wise, and with all the recent celebrity meme coins and hype, it's a major warning we are close. And here we have, there won't be an alt season. Here we also have another one. I appreciate the notion that history rhymes, but my gut tells me that the near future won't mimic prior cycles. There are too many new factors: institutional investment, growing trend towards regulation, and the increasingly decline in the US dollar. Then also over here, so much hype. Alt season won't start until 2025. Study the charts. Every bull run takes longer than the previous one. Last bull run took 500 days after halving. Everyone is always comparing previous cycles. Remember that we really only have 2 major cycles to go off of. That's it. That is not enough price data, in my opinion. Over here, we have Bitcoin has a few weeks more to go down. This is not the low. Again, all of these, comments, they only feed more into the sentiment. And even more recently, I said, as I have said, look at the sentiment. This post that Credible is quoting is proof of where the majority of emotions are at this time in the space. I have been hearing no alt season or market is topped for weeks now. Everyone is failing to look at the past cycles and where sentiment was right before the market went parabolic. And again, this is not talking about price data or anything about previous cycles. I'm talking more so about the sentiment from the retail sector. Retail will always tell you the wrong story at the wrong time. Don't lose focus now, and definitely don't feed into the sentiment. And here we have the sentiment, right? No, chill fam. Bitcoin sitting comfortably over 60K. That's all you need to focus on right now. Also will recover later. Bitcoin leads. Sit tight. Keep your wits about you. And here we have, are we now entering a bear market, dude? Again, what type of market tops when everyone is expecting it to? Right now, most of the market is expecting the market to be topped. Right? Everyone's expecting no alt season until X, Y, and Z. Oh, you know, alts are so weak. I would definitely be selling here, X, Y, and Z, right? Think about this logically. Every single alt season has topped with major bullish and euphoric sentiment. I have not witnessed bullish or euphoric sentiment this cycle yet. I haven't. Until that happens, we are not at the top. Time frame wise, we might push this a bit more into the end of June, middle of July. That's what I'm focused on. The move on Bitcoin yesterday will probably make us chop a bit until we attempt to break over 74K, which we are chopping right now. This was from June 15th. Ultimately, I see downside limited here, and I'm still expecting to see a major move by the end of summer. Bitcoin should see 80 to 100K, and altcoins should begin their ascension to the upside. Let's see what happens next week. The path should be clear by then. And again, we are now in next week. Monday is almost over. Tuesday is here. And now we should focus on where we are going to be at by the end of this week. A lot of the short-term price action will get blown out of proportion. A lot of people will be talking about how Bitcoin is doing this, Bitcoin's doing that. We're about to have this massive move to the downside. I'm telling you, it's so comical on what gets pushed at a time where you should actually be focusing on the opposite of what half of these people are saying. Again, I'm not going to say that I'm always right because I'm not, right? There's a lot of times where I have been wrong, but I'm just looking at the sentiment and I'm gauging where we're at right now, cyclical wise. And if we go back in time, again, what was November of 2022 telling you? Everyone was extremely bearish at the bottom. Again, sentiment is typically wrong most of the time. As we look at Bitcoin dominance, we had a fake out recently. From there, we had a massive move to the upside. In fact, if we actually look at this, from the end of May to where we are at right now, Bitcoin just moved over almost 5% to the upside. Right now, it's up about 4.75. This is at a time where Bitcoin is also chopping. So while Bitcoin, regardless of, you know, what the prices of altcoins are doing, right? Because again, it doesn't matter about their USD pairs. It matters about their Bitcoin pairs. As long as Bitcoin's doing something like this, while Bitcoin dominance is doing something like this, altcoins will continue to do this. So that's why when you look at the USD pair and you're wondering, why is my altcoin selling off so heavily? For an example, Casper is a perfect example of this. Well, go look at the Casper Bitcoin pair. Guys, this Casper Bitcoin pair is down 86%. You might be saying, well, wow, that sucks. Casper is terrible, right? No, in fact, Casper is not the only one. If we look at RSI on Casper, first off on the weekly, this is oversold in the entire life cycle of this chart. It is at the most oversold level possible. Here's QNT. Again, most oversold level on this chart possible, down 90%. Here's XRP. Again, triple bottom bounce essentially off of RSI in a major oversold level, historically going all the way back to like 2019. Now it's chopping and we're just waiting for a move to the upside. Down 70, almost 8% against Bitcoin. Here we also have HBAR Bitcoin, down 75.5% from its recent high. Again, in the area back in December of 2020, right before that massive move to the upside. This is why I focus on the Bitcoin pairs. Right now, yeah, Bitcoin's going to chop. This chart is going to chop probably for a little bit of time, and I'm totally fine with it. Altcoins will most likely bleed out a little bit more and shake out as many people as possible. During this time, you're going to see the fear and greed index change drastically. You're going to see sentiment around this space change drastically. I wouldn't even be surprised if half the comments on this video were bearish or saying, oh no, dude, like altcoin's not happening. The market's done. It's just so funny to me that even if we look at Bitcoin, right? Even if we go back to the March highs, Bitcoin is down 12.4%, and people are panicking. Let me just go back to this low down here. This was a 23.26% drawdown in the market to the May of 2024 lows. Again, here you have in one weekly candle, 27.86%. And you know what's funny? This is not the first move of this cycle. That was a 20+% move. Here's another 20+% move. Here's another 20% move to the bottom, and followed by another 21.77% move to the bottom. And this has happened all throughout this cycle. 20+% moves to the bottom. And look at what ended up happening every single time after. First off, here you have the first one, right? Up 63%, 63.5%. Here's another one, up 60% almost. Again, another one, up 30% almost. And then this one, which was the most gain so far, 96%. And then last but not least, this one, which was almost 92%. And just recently, off of these lows, roughly 30.66%. Now we have the sell-off, which in my opinion is not even that bad at all. Like total loss here, 10.36%. Could we go down even lower? Yeah, technically we could. I saw a lot of people saying like, oh, this is going to be another 20%. I don't believe so. In fact, I think that this is just a short-term sell-off back into a demand zone right before we have a much larger expansion to the upside. From here, wherever our bottom is, maybe it's down here in 63K, right? This would be a retest of the trend line. If 63K is our bottom, from here, I do expect us to move massively to the upside. Even if we have just like a 30% move to the upside, that's 80K achieved. What's funny to me is that even from our current price on Bitcoin to 100K, you're talking about a 53% gain. We've had 96% gains happen multiple times. I do believe that we are getting very close to a much larger move in the market. This pullback that we're seeing right now is not a crash. It's not a massive capitulation event. It's nothing crazy like that. This is simply a pullback. I mean, look at this weekly chart. Why are we getting bearish at this point? There is no reason to be bearish. On altcoins, yeah, be bearish because Bitcoin dominance is so high, had a nice, almost 5% move plus to the upside, while Bitcoin pairs on altcoins are bleeding out, but this is typically what you want to see in altcoin capitulation. Altcoins are capitulating. Bitcoin is not capitulating yet. That's why I'm not bearish right now. I'm not even close to being bearish. In fact, I'm actually very excited about what's going to be happening over the course of the next couple weeks because I do believe that from here, we should have that major move to the upside on altcoins. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because I'm a free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.